laughter and off-key banjo plucking. This was his night to watch the place, but she didn't expect him to show his face where it belonged. If someone hadn't needed to be there to watch the new pair of spotted geldings that had arrived that afternoon, she would have left long ago. "I swear to all above and below I will skin you if you leave me here by myself," Lucy grumbled. Considering how often her brothers were absent and the selection of other companions that were available in Sedley, she'd become quite accustomed to talking to herself. Someone staggered out through the saloon's bat-wing doors. Leaning forward as if that extra bit of closeness would help her pick out the details on the man's face, Lucy studied him for a few seconds and then leaned back again. "Damn it, Dale. Just buy the bottle and bring it here. All I need is a warm body to fill a chair. If there's one thing you can do right, it's sit." She leaned against the post marking the corner of her lot. The saloons were still a ways off, but it was the best view she could get without leaving the livery unattended. Behind her was a patch of fenced-in ground that was just big enough for a team of horses to get some sun while they drank from a trough that was currently a quarter full of ice. The livery was bigger than the Miles homestead, which was at the back end of the cluster of nearby houses. While Lucy's eyes remained fixed on the saloon, her ears were alert for every little sound to come out of the structure behind her. Hooves clomped against the floorboards. Heavy, snuffing breaths were let out as the animals tried to keep warm. Something creaked. That last one caught her attention immediately. The wail of the hinge attached to the side door might as well have been a bell announcing the presence of a customer or lazy worker trying to sneak in and sneak back out again. Twirling around while gathering her skirts, Lucy rushed around the fence line as quietly as she could. The leather of her boots was thin enough to make every step as subdued as if she were in bare feet. She knew right when to duck when passing a window and exactly when to hop to avoid getting tripped up by a rut or partially buried rock. By the time she'd circled around the livery, the side door's latch was just being eased into the bracket attached to the wall. Lucy peeked in through the corner of a square window beside the door. Even though there was only one lantern in the livery casting its dull glow, she recognized the slender build and messy hair of her brother. He kept low as he approached the stalls along the opposite wall. Just past those stalls was the loose floorboard where the little iron strongbox was kept. Dale had probably forgotten to bring his money along for his drinking binge. The notion of other ways he might waste their small amount of income was enough to send her through the door and into the livery in a rush. "Dale Abraham Miles," she bellowed while dropping a hand down onto the man's shoulder, "if you think you're sneaking back out just so you can go to that saloon, you're sorely mistaken." He straightened up and turned around as if trying to stay under her hand rather than shake it off. While his build and features were similar to her brother's, this man's face was different. Where Dale's mouth was all but covered by a scraggly mustache, this one's was a thin line drawn from one ear to another. Her brother had been fortunate enough to inherit his mother's little nose and took good care of it. This fellow's nose was slightly larger, but was crooked after having been broken on at least 3 separate occasions. "Well, now," he sighed, "ain't this a pleasant little surprise?" Lucy pulled her hand away and stepped back. "Oh, excuse me, I mistook you for someone else." Looking down at the spot where her hand had been, the man swiped his finger across his shoulder as if he was sampling icing from atop a cake. He passed his fingers under his nose and replied, "You can mistake me for anyone you like, darling." "We're closing up," she said as she clasped her hands and placed her back against a post. "But if you need to rent a stall for the night, we can accommodate you."
"Don't need a stall."
"Then what brings you here?" The man's narrow mouth hung open just enough to show the brown tips of his teeth. Light blue eyes flicked up and down her chest while his shoulders wriggled as if he was trying to get comfortable within his own skin.
"Came for these horses."
She didn't need to take her eyes from him to know that the stall he'd approached